Now, I know what you're thinking. What happened to the April Skateboards Nike SB Dunk Low? Weren't we just supposed to see these release? Well, yes, we were, but don't worry, they're still going to be releasing, but later this month. So today, we're going to be going over all the releases that are remaining in the rest of November, and we got a lot more heat than just these Nike SB Dunk Lows. Not only that, but we also got to see two really good drops today. We got to see the Tight Booth Nike SB Dunk Low release, and we also got to see the Jordan 11 DMP. If you guys already follow me on Twitter, you guys got the notification for this, and if you're in endurance, you got the early information well ahead of time for this, so you were always prepared. Obviously, this wasn't a very low-key shock drop. Nike had a lot of stock to unload, so they wanted to make sure it would sell out. They were happy for the marketing, of course, but when it comes to more limited, low-key shock drops like the SB Dunk Low Reserve we saw, that's something you'll definitely want solid early information for, because Nike does make some changes when it comes to those, and that's why everyone had the time wrong. So if you're looking for early information for Nike sneakers shock drops, consider joining endurance. Let me know what you guys copped below, but with that said, let's start going through the rest of the releases in November. Kicking off the second half of the month on the 15th for $200, it looks like we're going to be seeing the Jordan 3 Women's Neuer. Of course, I expect these to just be personals, but nonetheless, they make pretty solid personals. I mean, it's an all-black Jordan 3. You can't really go wrong. If you're looking for a pair of threes, this could go with almost every single outfit, and the materials used on them are pretty awesome, I have to say. Also tomorrow on the 15th, we have the Sean Wotherspoon Adidas Gazelle Indoor dropping. Obviously, when it comes to Sean Wotherspoon releases, sometimes you don't know what you're gonna get. That's definitely the case with these. Very strange looking sneaker, but you know, to each their own. If you like them, you like them, and hey, they might kind of be perfect for the holiday season. They got red and green on them. Contrary to the very first few Sean Wotherspoon releases, like that legendary Air Max, unfortunately, it's looking like all these Adidas ones have been bricks, and this is probably going to be the case when it comes to this pair too. Resale is not looking good already. Pre-sale is pretty low. Demand does not look very good, unfortunately, either. There's a couple of pre-sales you see, but with a retail of $140, at best, I could maybe see there being some brick profit with a poor margin if you have no tax, but otherwise, there's mostly just going to be personals, like many Sean Wotherspoons that we've seen recently. Then on the 16th for $110, guess what's back? You guessed it, the Panda Dunk Low. Yes, guys, they are once again restocking. These are pretty much going to be the new white Air Force One, if you couldn't tell by now, but obviously it's a very universal colorway. I call these the normie Dunk Lows, and when it comes to resale value for these, unfortunately, it's not great. It hasn't been great for a very long time, because they have been constantly restocking over the past year and some, so obviously these are going for just about retail. At best, you might be able to find some friend who doesn't really know anything about sneakers to pay $5 to $10 over retail, but even that is not a guarantee when it comes to these. Also on the 16th for $250, the LeBron 2 Beast is going to be dropping. Now, these are definitely out there, to say the least. Obviously, there's a lot going on this sneaker, and it sort of reminds me of the 2K14 LeBron 11 that we saw a very long time ago. Those, believe it or not, actually resold for quite a lot. Of course, that was a different time when Nike basketball was really hot. Nowadays, most LeBrons are bricking, and unfortunately, I think that is going to be the fate of these. Pre-sale is already below retail in some of the sizes, but is that really hard to believe at this point in time? I don't think so. Unfortunately, sales are not looking great. There's not much demand on them either, so personals only, unfortunately. And if you could manage to pull these off on the court, you know, more power to you. They're definitely out there. You'll break some necks out there, and you could break ankles at the same time, I guess. Then on the 17th for $170, we have the Jordan 1 Low Golf gift giving. Unfortunately, most Jordan 1 Golfs recently have not been doing too great, and this is definitely not one of the better colorways. It's not like it's a classic colorway. It's just a regular silver colorway with an icy bottom, and they definitely don't look bad, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, I'm just not expecting these to be profitable. If the prior Jordan 1 Lows couldn't be profitable, I definitely wouldn't expect these to be. And the same goes for the Jordan 1 High Golf gift giving, which is dropping on November 17th for $210. Unfortunately, I'm not very optimistic when it comes to these either. Aside from the Eastside Golf collaboration that we saw not too long ago, most Jordan 1 Golfs, unless they're a classic colorway, don't really tend to do well, and I don't think this one's going to be any different. So I'd have to say, for the most part, these are just going to be personals. And then we actually have another one. This is the Jordan 6 Low Golf gift giving. They're dropping also on November 17th for for $230. There's been no profitable Jordan 6 low golfs or Jordan 6 golfs in general, so of course I would not expect these to be. Also on the 17th for $70, we have the Soleil Bembury Crocs Polex Slide in the Parsnip colorway. Unfortunately, I would not expect these to be profitable, very similar to the prior slides that we saw from Crocs. But that's actually not all we have for Soleil Bembury Crocs. We actually have a Crocs pair also dropping on the 17th for $85. This time it is coming in yellow. So if you're a fan of Soleil Bembury Crocs, here's finally your chance to get a yellow colorway. Unfortunately, recently they have not been doing too well. They've been bricking for the most part. They still sell for slightly above retail, and I'd expect that to be the case for these, but overall, you're not really going to be able to make profit off of them. I'd say these are personals only. Also on the 17th for $125, we have the Puma MB03 Chino Hills dropping. This is definitely one of the more interesting colorways, I'd have to say. So if you're looking for a pair that's definitely eye-catching on the court, this might be for you. But unfortunately, like most recent pairs of these, I would have to say personals only. Also on the 17th, yes, it's a pretty hectic day. For $125, we have the Dunk Low Premium Giraffe dropping again. Not only do they have a unique giraffe pattern on them, but the colorways are definitely very wearable. Pretty easy to match outfits with these. Earthy tone vibes, very similar to what we've seen on a lot of Yeezys. And in terms of resale, pre-sale is still holding up pretty well for these. Not only that, but demand does seem quite high as well. Of course, I do expect these prices to drop. I don't expect these current sales to hold up, obviously, but nonetheless, with the retail of $125, I do still think that there's going to be room for profit on these with a subpar to decent margin. So nothing crazy, but an opportunity to profit nonetheless, especially in the larger sizes 11 and above. Also on the 17th, yes, the day is actually not over yet. We have the Social Status Mac Attack dropping for $140. This time it's coming in a Summit White and Pine Green colorway. Obviously, we've already seen Social Status Mac Attack collaborations before, and unfortunately, they actually don't tend to do too well, and I'm not really expecting these to do well either. So if you're looking for a pair of Mac Attacks, this is a pretty cool colorway, and it's good for the holiday season, but unfortunately, they are not going to be good for resale purposes. Also on the 17th, yes, there's actually more stuff dropping on this day. For $180, we have the DTLR New Balance 9060 Fire Sign. This is definitely one of the cooler colorways we've seen on DTLR collabs. It might be a little harder to pull off, but it is definitely eye-catching. Looks pretty awesome. Unfortunately, though, DTLR collabs don't tend to do the best. Yes, it is a collab, but nonetheless, they haven't really resold quite well in the past, and I don't really expect this pair to be any different, unfortunately, so I'd have to say personals only. Then on the 18th, finally we're past the 17th, for $210, we have another Jordan 4 dropping. Pretty awesome colorway. This is the Jordan 4 Craft Olive. Of course, as a craft pair, these look very similar to the prior Craft in beige that we saw not too long ago. Unfortunately, those ended up being just personals. They bricked, and I initially didn't expect that these would too, considering they look very close to the undefeated 4s, but unfortunately, it's looking like pre-sale for these is already pretty close to retail. So unfortunately, as of now, I'd have to say mostly just personals for these, which is crazy to say because it's a Jordan 4 colorway that actually looks pretty nice. But the way pre-sale is right now, given how low it is, I'd have to say mostly just personals, unless you have no tax and you have local buyers, so you could avoid the seller fees. But otherwise, it's looking like these are just personals, unfortunately. Again, crazy to say because it's a really nice sneaker if you ask me. Jumping to the 21st for $115, we have the Dunk Low from Nike 2U. This is another pair which is perfect for the holiday season. Finally, Nike seems to be getting it where they're dropping holiday sneakers before the actual holiday. So often we're used to seeing Halloween sneakers dropping in November or on Halloween day, so you get them after Halloween. Like, what's the point of that? But finally, it looks like Nike is getting it right. These are kind of perfect for the holiday season. If you wear them outside of the holiday season, obviously they're pretty tacky, but I have to say, if you are looking for a festive pair just for that week or so, this is definitely perfect. Unfortunately, though, the majority of new Dunk Low colorways haven't been performing too well, and I'm not expecting these to be profitable. I'd say at best, they might be brick profit in very large sizes if you have no tax, but for the most part, I'd say these are just going to be personal. Also on the 21st, we have another Jordan 2 dropping. You know, everybody's favorite. I don't know why the they keep dropping all these Jordan 2. But anyway, these are dropping for $150. This is the Chicago Twist colorway. Now, obviously, it is really hard to hate on a Jordan, which is white, black, and red, but I'm still going to do it. Not a fan of these. Unfortunately, like most Jordan 2s, not only am I not a fan of them, but they're bricks. Also on the 21st for $200, the Jordan 13 Wheat is finally going to be dropping. This is definitely one of the cleaner Jordan 13 colorways, I have to say. It's perfect for the fall season 2, but unfortunately, like most Jordan 13s, I still would expect these to just be personals. Then on the 22nd, we're going to be having the official release for the Jordan 5 A Ma Maniere, but they're actually going to be releasing on the 17th on the A Ma Maniere website, I believe. I'll update you guys if that changes. I have to say, this is definitely one of the nicer A Ma Manieres that we've seen. I'm a really big fan of that aged look that they gave these. I think they look perfect for a Jordan 5. They did great with what they were able to work with, but in general, Jordan 5s don't tend to have the best demand, and even though they executed this pair really well with that high retail, I'm not sure that these are going to do well enough for much profitability, especially after the shipping fees that A Ma Maniere is going to charge. Maybe they might be somewhat profitable in large sizes on Nike sneakers, because shipping is going to be free there, especially if you don't have tax in your state. But otherwise, I'm not really feeling so optimistic about these, and it really does come down to the fact that retail is high. Not only that, but of course, A Ma Manieres in general don't always tend to do well. It's not just automatically going to be profitable because it's an A Ma Maniere collab. We already saw a lot of the prior pairs like the Jordan 12s or the Jordan 2s already brick. I don't think these are going to do as bad as those, but that doesn't mean they're going to be profitable, unfortunately. So we'll see as we approach the release, obviously, but in terms of how they look, I think these make for amazing personals. For the most part, the same goes for the Dusk pair, which is coming in all black with suede and a little bit of maroon. These look pretty cool too. I'm more of a fan of the white and blue pair, but these are still nice too. I think they did a pretty solid job. Unfortunately though, I would expect them to do slightly worse than the other pair. Obviously, we'll see as we get closer to the drop, but in general, if you had to pick one pair to go for, I'd say it's probably going to be the white and blue pair, which is going to slightly outperform these, not by a significant amount though. Then on the 23rd for $140, we're going to be seeing another Air Max 1. This is going to be the University Blue colorway. Definitely one of the nicer colorways of Air Max 1s we've seen, but it's not a collab, it's not anything special. So like most Air Max 1s recently, I'd still expect these to just be personals, but I'm not sure I'd expect them to go on sale because this colorway is still pretty high in demand right now. It's very similar to that UNC colorway. A lot of people really tend to like this, so I wouldn't sleep if you do want a personal pair. Then on the 24th for $140, we're going to be seeing another pair of Puma MB01s, this time the Golden Child pair. This is definitely another neck breaker that's going to break some necks and ankles on the court. Unfortunately though, like most colorways of these, I would not expect them to be profitable, so personals only. Then on the 25th for $200, we're finally going to be seeing the Jordan 3 Fear return. This is a classic colorway that definitely would have been perfect for October. Unfortunately, they did not release them then, but nonetheless, it's still a solid pair that a lot of people were really looking forward to, believe it or not. Then finally, after a delay, we're going to be getting the April Skateboards Nike SB Dunk Low for $135 on the 27th. A lot of people are saying this is one of the nicest SB Dunk Low colorways that we've seen in a very long time, and who am I to disagree? These look absolutely beautiful in terms of the colorway and in terms of the beautiful accents and details on these. O'Neal's collabs typically come out quite well, and these definitely did too. This was executed to absolute perfection. Even the insoles just look absolutely incredible on these. The detail and time and effort that was put into these looks beautiful, even up to the icy outsole that has that beautiful rose on them. So overall, I have to say this is one of the nicest pairs we've seen in a while, and on top of that, you can expect these to be very profitable with an incredible margin. Obviously, you're going to want to go full throttle on these. Not only will they be dropping on Nike sneakers, but you could expect a lot of skate shops to be raffling these and shock dropping them too, just like what we saw on the tight boots. If you're an endurance member, you know that a lot of skate shops typically shock drop these SB Dunk Lows. Like for the tight boots, for example, we caught a bunch of them, even some today. So if you're looking for some monitors to catch those shock drops, because we monitor every single one of them. Not only that, but when you click the endurance link below, you're also going to see that I added a free option. Now that's not endurance, that's just some free sneaker updates and guides that I figured I could help you guys out for free with, so you can feel free to check that out when you guys have some free time. But obviously, if you do want things like monitors, software, early information like what we had on one of the prior SB Dunk releases, which was the early link for their exclusive website drop, which was an absolute huge cookout, definitely consider joining Endurance for those perks. That aside though, I think we could all agree this is one of the best releases that not only we've seen in all of November, but this year in general. This is a contender for top 5 sneakers we've seen in all of 2023. I'm super excited to get my hands on a pair, and I hope you guys can too. Now, unfortunately, not quite up to par. We have also on the 27th for $210, the Jordan 8 Winterized Gunsmoke. Now, obviously, a lot of people don't like Jordan 8s, but if you do like Jordan 8s, this is a really solid colorway because it's very universal. You can match pretty much all outfits with it, but other than that, not much needs to be said. Like most Jordan 8s, these are going to end up just being personals, and they might even go on sale too, so be patient if you do want a personal. Then on the 28th for $160, we're going to be seeing the Air Max 1 Keep Rippin' Stop Sippin' 2.0. Unfortunately, like most recent Air Max 1s, I would expect these to also just be personals, but it's a pretty unique Air Max 1, I'll give it that. These actually already released a long time ago, and this is a re-release, and I think some collectors are quite excited to see these return. Nonetheless, I don't think it's going to be enough demand for them to be profitable. And then on the 29th, for a whopping $250, the Jordan 6 Women's Gore-Tex Brown Kelp is going to be dropping. Now, if it wasn't for that very high retail of $250, I'd actually say these might be the very first Jordan 6 in a long time that have somewhat of a little bit potential for profitability, just because they look like a poor man's version of the Travis Scotts. Obviously, the purple changes that a lot, but if they didn't have that, and most importantly, if they didn't have that very high retail of $250, I would say they have potential, but because the retail is so high and they do have that little extra purple on there, I'd say these are definitely going to just be personals, and you'll probably be able to get these for below retail if you are patient. But anyway, that will conclude it for today. Remember to check out Endurance with the link below, and if you're looking for free sneaker updates, definitely check out the link below anyway, so I could still help you out to the best of my ability. Also, of course, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, for urgent updates and info, just like what we saw today on the shock drops for the DMP. Other than that, though, make sure you subscribe and enable post notifications. This way, you're always 100% updated on sneaker news. But have a fantastic rest of your day, and of course, good luck on all of these upcoming releases.